to our realization of tomorrow is our limitation of today. Thank you for joining us on From the Dailies on Equa Television, where we bring to you stories making rounds on our national and international papers. I am Owola Bitosin, and I'll be reviewing papers alongside Sele Elisha. Good morning, Sele.
Morning, Tosi.
Morning. Let's start with our papers, and I will start with the Daily Sun newspaper. And for the Daily Sun, declare sponsors of terrorism wanted. Senate tells federal government. The call was made in a 6-point resolution reached by the chambers following a motion on the urgent need to stem the spat of kidnapping and insecurity across parts of the country. The motion, entitled Urgent Need to Summon All Kind of Kidnappings, Bandit Akaba, Yori local government areas of Kebbi State, was sponsored by Bala Ibn Na'ala and co-sponsored by 12 other senators. Na'ala, in his presentation, noted with concern the current rise in security challenges in Danko, Wasagu and Sakaba local government area of Kebbi State, and indeed across the Federation. The bandits are moving in hundreds from village to village, house to house in search of cattle to rustle and people to abduct. In some cases, the houses and foodstuffs of residents are entirely burnt down, rendering them homeless and without food to survive. Besides, many of their victims have been maimed, while women, both old and young, are raped and dehumanized, he said. The lawmaker stated that the bandits now conduct their criminal operations in broad daylight, fully armed on motorcycles, shooting and killing whoever was unfortunate to come their way. And you see this issue, Sele, this is not the first time we've been talking about the issue of insecurity, the issue of terrorism act, and now the Senate are telling the federal government that they should declare sponsors of terrorism wanted. I keep on saying, how do we go to the root cause of this? How do we stop the root cause of insecurity, criminal activities, if we don't affect it from the roots? Because cutting it from just from the top, from the branches, definitely it will grow. And there are stories that people, this Boko Haram are still recruiting more people. Even if we keep arresting the Boko Haram members, those who perpetrate this act, what about the sponsors? Because the sponsors are still looking out for people they can recruit into this act. Why not go to the root cause of it? Look, go to the sponsors of this terrorism. If they can be arrested, if they can face the full wrath of the law, definitely it will go to the top. And you know that those people that are perpetrating this act will try to restrain, because you know that even though their sponsors are not safe in this issue, whereby the government is going out to hunt all those people and bring them to book. But if we keep on just looking at those that are perpetrating this act, definitely issue of insecurity, issue of Boko Haram act will still keep on striving. And now we see that even in different localities, people are no longer safe to move around, do their normal activities. They go out not just in the night any longer, even broad daylight. They go out to affect people, dehumanize people, rape children, rape girls. So you can see that this issue, we just hope that the federal government will grant this request and also declare sponsors of terrorism, if they can be declared wanted, and if found, because we know that United Arab Emirates brought out 6 names of people who are sponsoring this Boko Haram. If those people can be hunted down and brought to book, this will affect even those that are perpetrating this act, those that are even at the war front going about this illicit act. Definitely they will restrain from all these things that they are doing, and we will have peace in our country, we'll have peace in our communities for people to go about their normal activities.
You know, Tosi, just I think beginning of this month, or was it January, we had issues where about 90 something financiers of Boko Haram were actually their names were out, because we're told that quite a number of even some companies were involved in that. Now, just like the Senate is ready telling the federal government to declare these terrorist sponsors wanted, I think we already have their names. And I believe that they are not living in the underworld. They are living in the world where we are. So I think it should be very, very easy for the federal government to be able to hunt them. And just like you've said, if we keep saying we want to fight in terrorism, we want to fight kidnappers or banditry, and we do not tackle that from the roots, which is the sponsors and those who are financing them, or those who finance this evil act, then we will not be able to totally eradicate insecurity from our midst. Just yesterday in the paper, excuse me, we read the money that the federal government, the World Bank, is trying to launch to the Northeast for them to be able to, work on certain projects. How would this money be able to, how would this project stand if we've not fight the roots? Definitely, even when the money is being sent there and the project is being carried out, they will still demolish those projects. They will still affect those projects. The people in the community will not benefit from this project. Why? Because they can't even have assets. You can't go to your farms. You can't go to school. So when we build the school, who are the students that we're building the schools for? We're not building it for anybody. Because the classroom will only be lively when students are in the classrooms. And so just like you said, the federal government should not fold their arms to this issue. We should be proactive about certain things that are happening. We should not give it a blind eye and feel that because it has not gotten to me, so people over there should keep suffering. No, it will get to all of us. It will get to all of us if we don't do something about this. Because if we are scared of the people sponsoring it, then that means we are part of them. But when we expose them, then we will make an example of those that we have there. So for those who are planning to also join them, they will know that there is no hiding place for them, because they'll be fished out at the end of the day. So I really, really applaud the Senate, and I hope that they will follow up. It's not just words of mouth, but we need actions at the end of the day.
So at this point in time, we need to on the issue of terrorism and insecurity, we have to take the bull by the horn. And still on the Daily Sun on 2023, Niger governor shows preference for young president. Details can be found in page 29. And the big story on constitution amendment, National Assembly proposes immunity for judges, legislator independent candidacy as lawmakers lay reports. And on fuel scarcity, NNPC distributes 387.5 million litres. Queues reduce. This is another bold step coming from NNPC, but we just look out for other places, because this should not just be in a particular zone. Other places that are having this issue of the long queues, and we can see that we have record of attacks in the filling station. So we just need this availability of the PMS in the filling stations so that people can have access to get all this PMS to avoid long queues in the filling station. Buhari swears in 6 INEC commissioners. The rider says we'll fire on all cylinders now. This is from Yakubu, and details can be found in page 27. Ibadan residents go spiritual for Makinde, Olubadan designates. And Methodist Bishop laments Leah Sharibu's continued captivity. Educate members to elect credible candidates, Wiki tells Anglican Church. Airlines deny 50,000 naira fare hike, says operators lose 20 billion naira monthly over bed strikes and orders. With details in page 2. Strike on strike, federal government, ASU, dialogue deadlocked. Meeting to resume next week. So you can see that even with the 1 month warning strike that ASU embarked on after meeting with the federal government, because of the speculations the federal government is saying they are not aware about this warning strike, and now after meeting you see that the dialogue ended in deadlock. We just hope that something will be done very fast, and now the next meeting is postponed to 28th of February. We just hope that on that 28th, when they will meet with the federal government, that's the ASU and the federal government, we hope that the outcome will be positive, because we need the students back to school and school activities to continue to the fullest. And still on the Daily Sun newspaper, electoral bill, Buhari to assent tomorrow. The rider says anxiety unnecessary, says Uzodinma. 2 killed in PDP World Congress in Osun. And we have a picture story here. The Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo, the Senate President Amen Lawan, Speaker House of Representatives Femi Bajabiamila, and Secretary to Government of the Federation Boss Mustafa during the swearing in of INEC commissioners in Abuja yesterday. And those are all the stories making rounds on the Daily Sun newspaper.
Moving on now to the Nation newspaper. Court orders fortitude of 10 properties linked to Yari. IMF calls for bank recapitalization with the rider COVID-19 hit sector. Battle for APC top post shift to zones. Zamfara gets new deputy governor after Gazo sack. Detail of that story can be found on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Airlines lost $60 million to bet strike in 1 year. Arabia Shola man asks court to void Oyetola's victory. Osun PDP elects 996 delegates for March 7 primary. And also, the big story still on the Nation newspaper, lawmakers to vote on VAT, PAV devolution and others with the rider constitution review enters crucial stage. Speaker to reps, you must participate. And the story is there on the front page. You want to read more on that, you can check page 2 of the Nation newspaper. And we have violent mass Osun PDP World Delegates poll. And detail of that story can be found on page 30. We can see the picture story here. It's not looking so beautiful. We can see some victims there with some blood on their faces. And it's quite sad to see just the primary. We're already having violence breaking out. And I think this is where our security agencies need to be on their toe. This is where we have educational, election education, because this will go to the chairman, the councillors, even in our churches. Just the paper you read, the Dailies, where we are hearing Wike saying we need to educate people, voters, on what is expected of them so that we can vote credible leaders. We will not resort to, to violence, because violence has never, provided solutions to things in this country. And looking at the way we are suffering from one thing or to the other, I think this should be what we should actually open our eyes, open our hearts. Let it not be about your religion, your tribe, your ethnicity, no, but let's choose people who will be credible, people that we can hold accountable at the end of the day, and stop resolving to violence, because at the end of the day we are the ones at the receiving end. Because you have never seen a politician that sponsor hoodlums or touts to go cause confusion at the election. He doesn't use his family members, he always uses you out there. And if you're not wise enough, at the end of the day you lose your life. So what have you done at the end of the day for just peanuts that will be given to you? We really need to be wise and do things that is expected of us as good citizens of this country. And still on the Nation newspaper, NDLA destroyed 255 hectares of hemp farms in Ondo. And the last story here, fire got ministry basement. You want to know more about any of the story, you can grab the Nation newspaper and read detail on that.
Thank you, Sele. Moving to the Punch newspaper, LCCI, others back National Assembly on proposed railway, airports, power decentralization. And Bishop Kuka is saying current system suffocating Nigerians. And the full details can be found in page 8 of the Punch newspaper. $1.4 billion spent on fuel imports in 2021, coming from CBN. And strike continues, ASU insist Ngige pleads with union. Fuel scarcity persists as NNPC releases 387.6 million liters. Reps deepen probe. Oando Duke Oil insists government approved dirty fuel. The screaming headline on Constitution Amendment, outrage as National Assembly considers life pension for presiding officers. It's wasteful, self-centered, reject it, CSOs tell lawmaker. It's financial burden. Committee recommends pension for Senate President, Speaker, and deputies. So this story is making rounds on almost all our papers, because after meeting in the National Assembly yesterday, they came out with some constitution and looking at the issue of having a life pension for presiding officers. That's the Senate President, the Senate President, the Speaker, and deputies in a time where we are going through financial issues as a country. When you talk about the red alert, we are facing the red alert as a country. Then we are having issues of having life pension for these people that still collect pension from serving as former governors, even former lawmakers, and Senate again collecting pension, all from one pocket. And now we are looking at life pension. Then how do we look out for growth? How do we look out for development as a nation if we are narrowing all the resources to one person, to a particular pocket? Then how do we grow as a country? Just like when Lagos State governor say former governor should not collect any pension, because I wonder how you collect pension from as a former governor, you collect pension as a former Senate member, collect pension as even as a former reps member, all in one pocket. Something needs to be done about it. If only we can look into this bill that is being passed and this constitution, something should be done about it. It should be looked into, because we need to look out for ways we can grow as a country. Our resources now, we need to look out for ways we can boost our resources. We shouldn't depend on foreign countries any longer. We shouldn't look out for loans for credit from foreign countries. We need to generate income from ourselves. And always the African Development Bank, president always talk about this, that we should look out for ways we can generate income for ourselves. Even if we borrow money from foreign nation, we should invest it in the right places. But when we look at borrowing money and using it to pay salaries, we see that definitely we can't have profit from all these things. We can't generate income for ourselves. We need to look into our resources, how we can tap into our resources, how we can invest into our resources for us to grow. If we are thriving as a country, all these things will not be an issue to us, Sele. If we are thriving. But we look at the issue, there's no money in circulation. Everyone is looking for ways he or she can help himself with the current issue of the adulterated petrol, with the current issue of the power outage, with the current issue of lack of money. And we're looking at how we can have all the senators, the speakers on life pension. Something needs to be done about
it. Really, something needs to be done about this, because this would even take me back to the fact that just looking at the allowances, senators, sitting allowances, maintenance allowance, when you just take a good look at the allowances they collect, it baffles me a lot, and you begin to wonder, and I'm sure it's not just me, but even citizens out there are wondering, if a senator would receive such an allowance and we're still saying that they should be placed on a life, pension, then something is really, really wrong with us in this nation. We really, because I say it seems as if, someone once said that it seems we've been cursed in this nation. Who did this to us? And this will bring to light the fact that we really need to highlight on certain things that need to be done right. If you receive pension as a former governor, former Senate president, or former senator, then how do we expect to grow? We're looking at other issues that are eating us. Our educational sector is suffering. ASU is on strike. These are things that we should see. What can we do to revive our educational sector back? What can we do to revive our transport sector back? What can we do to revive other sectors that are dying? This issue right now is not really something we should be having on our papers. And I think just as they went back to review the constitutional amendment, the constitution, they should go back and re-amend this again, because just like we're having the civil society here say it is wasteful, it is self-centered, and we should reject it. Lawmakers shouldn't sign this because it's really not going to tell good or not. When we go to other developing nations, these things are not done this way, and they are progressing. So we are still developing. Why should we resort to things like this? So this is really, we are just advising our lawmakers to take a good look at this again and see how we can grow as a nation and not go totally, just like you said, we're on red alert. We don't have to depend on being there. If we are collecting a loan, let's look at how we can generate funds out of it, invest in it, and do other things. Let's revive our other sectors that are dying.
Yes, this is coming as a result of greed and selfishness. And still on the Punch newspaper, fire destroys finance ministry inverter room, and Buhari signs electoral bill Friday. CSO suspend protest. Hoodlums guarded by cops, soldiers demolish structure in Lagos slum. And Benin, Eba have historical similarities, and this is from Ewari too. And court orders interim forfeiture of his spirit husband. And the last story on federal government school feeding cost 100 naira per child, scheme to go up to 1 billion naira daily. And that's all on the Punch newspaper.
Moving on now to the Al Jazeera newspaper. Oil marketers to face sanction over weight and measures act violation. And we can see here the stories on the front page. You can continue reading that on page 24. And lists 68 bills for consideration as First Lady pushes for more female parliamentary leaders. Assembly confirms Hassan Nashiha as Zamfara Deputy Governor. And we wish him good luck, and we hope that he brought in more ideas on how we can fight insurgency in Zamfara state. Senate to federal government declare known terrorist leaders wanted. Other stories still on Al Jazeera newspaper. Buhari to sign rework and workers. World Health Organization accuses firms of unethical marketing of baby formula. Business owners lament as power shortage worsen. Terrorists give 5 days free movement to Niger communities. This is really, really sad to see when we're having terrorists like giving 5 days, free movement to Niger communities. I wonder since when have terrorists become, governments that they give directions, or the governor of Niger state that they're giving direction. And this is really what we really need to sit up in this country and really look into things like this. If they were able to come out and give 5 days free, you could walk around movement, then we should know where they are definitely, and we should be able to eradicate them. And just like the Senate has said, and we've already laid emphasis on it, those who are sponsoring them should be exposed. And that's all from Al Jazeera newspaper.
Thank you, Sela. Moving to Nigerian Tribune. Ukraine declares state of emergency, orders citizens to leave Russia. Osun PDP World Congress, 2 killed, many injured as supporters clash. States should control their resources. This is from the African Development Bank President. Additional says Nigerians' diversity mismanaged. Ijebu-Igbo agog as Abiodun installs new Orimolusi. And NNPC distributes 387 million liters of petrol in 1 week. This is a report which can be found in Nigerian Tribune, page 7. Buhari may sign Electoral Act Amendment Bill tomorrow. President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to sign the long-awaited Electoral Act Amendment Bill on Friday. Reliable sources in the presidency confirmed this on Wednesday. The source close to the office of the president said arrangement had been finalized for the president to sign the amendment bill into law around 12 p.m. The source, who spoke on condition of anonymity, said all this anxiety will disappear by Friday afternoon. He will be signing the bill around noon of that day. I believe he has taken his time so that the act can be an civil society organization had organized protest over President Buhari's delay in assenting to re-amendment bill. The National Assembly transmitted the bill to President Buhari on January 31st, a second time after reworking the draft law rejected by the president. Meanwhile, the founder of ANAP Foundation, Mr. Atedo Peterside, has urged Buhari to assent to the electoral bill. I wonder, must we go on some kind of protest before this bill can be signed? Just yesterday we had stories where different society, the civil society, went on protest. You can see people with placard all over Abuja protesting on the president to sign the electoral bill. But this is a good thing that the bill will be signed tomorrow, but this has a way of affecting the next general election, which is to come up 2023, 26th of February. But we just hope that after signing tomorrow, something will be done within INEC, and there will be a press briefing whereby they can make people understand the implication of signing it late, because signing it late have an implication on the general election. But we just hope that there will be a lasting solution, and also after the dialogue, after the press briefing, they will bring understanding to people to understand on these issues. And again, on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, the review of 1999 Constitution. Reps Committee makes 68 recommendation. Aisha Buhari at National Assembly to witness laying of reports. Court orders interim forfeiture of 10 properties of Yari to federal government and declares suspected terrorist leader wanted, Senate tells the federal government. Federal government ASU meets to reconvene February 28. And the last story, Zamfara Assembly removes Gusau Matawale, swears in Senator Nashiha as new deputy governor. Senator Hassan Nasiha has been confirmed as a new deputy governor of Zamfara by the State House of Assembly. The All Progressive Congress federal lawmaker was confirmed Matawale. Nasiha, Zamfara Central APC, was appointed shortly after the Assembly impeached the former deputy governor Aliu Gusau during plenary on Wednesday. Matawale, who wasted no time, sent a letter to the Assembly signed by Secretary to the State Government, Kabiru Balarebe, seeking the screening of Nasiha. The Speaker of the House of Assembly, Nasiru Mwazu Magaria, read the governor's letter during plenary. When he appeared before the Assembly, the nominee was asked to bow and leave in line with the tradition of the Legislative House. And that's all the stories making round on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
Moving on now to the New Telegraph. British courts start hearing on Nigeria JP Morgan $1.7 billion oil deal. And you want to know more about our stories on the front page and continue reading that on page 3 of the New Telegraph. Declared terrorist leaders wanted, Senate tells the federal government, calls for an operational base within Danko, Wasagu, Sakaba local government, urges Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs to urgently provide relief materials to affected areas. How rivalries stall counter-insurgents, war by Shaitima. Detail of that story can be found on page 2 and 6. ASU strike illegal. Demands already been addressed, and this is coming from the federal government. Constitution, National Assembly moves to separate Attorney General of Federation from Justice Minister, creates mayor for Abuja. Court orders forfeiture for 10 properties found linked to the ex-Zamfara governor, Yari. Drama as Zamfara Assembly removes Mahi, appoint Sasiha as deputy governor. Overwhelmed extinction fear grips carriers as Nigerian airlines lose $60 million to bear strike, 20 million naira to flight delay, 159 stranded Nigerians return from Libya. Detail of that can be found on page 4 and 5 of the New Telegraph. And we have a study here that says sound waves could help regrown bones. If you're interested in that story, you can check page 6 of the New Telegraph. And that's all from the paper.
Thank you, Sele. On News Echo, Assembly by-elections, Uzodinma tax APC leaders to market party. On 2023, reject politicians above 50 years, and this is coming from some groups with details in page 13. And on electricity, avoid EEDC pattern, Abians won geometric power. Abuja High Court extends Abakari's detention order. Ebonyi female lawmakers lament stoppage of salary and entitlement. And an editorial News Echo says tackling menace of truck drivers. And from ECOWAS, Nigerians seek support to end coup in Africa. That's all on News Echo. But before we move to the next paper, we will take this time out. And when we come back, our phone lines will be open for you to call in to talk about stories that interest you on papers we are reviewing this morning. We'll be right back. back from this timeout. Our phones are open and displayed on your screen. Do well to call us. You're still on to from the dailies on Equa Television. So let's move into the next paper on Voice of Liberty.
Yes, first story on Voice of Liberty. Worsening insecurity. House of Reps asks the federal government to declare state of emergency. Zamfara deputy governor impeached for refusing to join APC. School feeding. Federal government increases consumption per child to 100 naira. So this story actually, it shocked me. Looking at the fact that the federal government have increased. So how much was used to feed each child back then? 15 naira? 16 naira? Looking at the nutrition of that food. How would it help these children? And we are having the story that is saying that they want to give what was the story we took about?
$1 billion naira for school feeding.
So imagine if we're going to give that, and then yet we're having 100 naira per child. How many schools are we looking at? I think we really need to go back and readdress this issue because it needs serious attention. If we are saying we want to feed these children, then we should feed them well. We have the resources, we have the money. I believe we do. So we should put that money in the right place, and I believe that it will go a long way, and parents will really appreciate it.
Yes, I'm going to look at the consistency. How often do they receive this food? How often do they take this food down to school? Because to the best of my understanding, children at the nursery level don't eat from this food. Rather, they give to those in the primary section. And now you can see the food just anyhow food they give to these children. Something needs to be done about this whole thing, because looking at this money, giving out the money is not the problem, but the nutritional value they will have in the food, the nutrition, because children growing up at this age need much nutrition in their food. And looking at giving them any kind of food, just prepare the food and give it to them, it's a government food. The food needs to be nutritious because the children need to grow, their bones need to be developed, and even their brains need to be developed. So looking at this money is not the problem giving it out, but the food that will be given out. Is there any inspection done on those food, or you just prepare the food and take it? Do they have anybody that go to inspect this food? Because the money allocated to the caterers need to be used. We should not have element of greed and selfishness in the side of the creators, where they feel, okay, it's just children, let me just prepare this food and keep the larger sum of money in my pocket. But there should be a body that will go out to investigate and look out the food, inspect the food, and even the environment the food is being prepared before giving out to children like this.
Very true, Tosi. Well, other story still on the Voice of Liberty. No local government in Nigeria under terrorist control. This is coming from CDS. Well, you want to know more about that story, just grab the Liberty and you can read detail on that. Here we have another story. Electoral Act amendment. Finally, Buhari to assent to bill tomorrow. This is a source coming from the presidency. After several back and forth, there are indications that barring any last-minute change, President Muhammadu Buhari will tomorrow, that's Friday, give his long-awaiting assent to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021. Authoritative presidency source confirmed that the president will be performing his duty of assenting to the bill around noon on Friday.
We have a caller from Delta. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, do well to call us back. Sele, continue.
Yes, and still on the big story here, we have that the authoritative presidency source confirmed that the president will be performing his duty of assenting to the bill around noon on Friday. So our fingers are all crossed because we are hoping and believing. I mean, this is a bill that.
Sorry, Mr. Kure from Kaduna. Good morning.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to respond on this issue of finally Buhari to assent bill to law. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, honestly, it's a wake-up call. I think Buhari is there because of Nigerian people. It's not just by himself. So he has to agree with people crying. Because people that were saying that he should not sign it, I think they will be put to shame by now. Because honestly, that's the way out. That's the reason why he was there. So he has to right. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kuri.
Thank you. So we're all waiting and trusting that that electoral bill will be signed. Other stories: era of election rigging is over, INEC declares. Well, actions speak better than words, so we hope to see the actions and not just the words. Court order forfeiture of 10 properties fund linked to ex-Zamfara Governor Yari. And from corruption, Nigerian leaders looted $440 billion in 56 years. This is an APC chieftain. Well, we don't need to look at the money being looted, but we need to look at what we have at hand and what we can use to make sure that our economy is moving forward. We can't keep living on past glory or past histories of things. If we can have that money brought back, then we should have it. But if there's a way they can pay for, looting such an amount of money that belongs to the Nigeria that needs to be used for certain things, then we should go about that. But I don't think this should be a way to stand on the way of the present administration to carry out what is expected of them to do at this moment. And that's all from the Voice of Liberty.
Thank you. Moving to the Guardian newspaper. FEC okays 58 billion naira contracts for works and humanitarian affairs. Government fixes February 28 to resolve issues with ASU. And downside, how to restructure Nigeria by AFDB President Adesina. The rider says clarifies why President African Development Bank AFDB Group Mr. Akinwumi Adesina has lent his voice to the contentious topic on the need to restructure the nation. The AFDB president made his views known yesterday in a lecture titled Nigeria, a Country of Many Nations, a Quest for National Integration during the 80th birthday celebration of General Overseer, Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye. He said, as a way out of the economic quagmire, much has been said about the need for restructuring. I know the discussions are often emotive. Restructuring should not be driven by political expediency, but by an economic and financial viability, the necessary and sufficient condition for political viability. NNPC releases distribution details of 387.5 million litres of petrol to solve scarcity. And still on the Guardian newspaper, Constitution Review splits Attorney General Justice Minister's office. Buhari will sign electoral bill on Friday, says President's source. Nasiha replaces impeached Gusau as Zamfara deputy governor. And that's all the story on the Guardian newspaper.
Moving on now to the Vanguard newspaper, Olufasan, and he said Nigeria needs an ownership on derivation system that allows each region to benefit meaningfully from resources within its borders. You want to know more about that? You can check page 16 of the Vanguard newspaper. VIO stops drivers on the road violating their rights. This is NBA that is saying that. On the welfare, IGP ordered distribution of uniform kits and others to all police personnel. Buhari to sign electoral bill tomorrow, a source from the presidency. Company income tax raises 19% to 1.69 trillion naira in 2021. And on the APC convention, APC governors and other stakeholders battled over party chair. Consultation horse trading as party leaders split over North Central, Northwest. Those against convention are not giving up, now want to dictate who becomes chairman, and this is a source. And on that, they are targeting somebody close to Buhari, most trusted minister. Well, our fingers are crossed concerning the forthcoming convention, whatever they comes out with, or whatever the decision or deliberation they will make there. But at the end of the day, it should not be about a selfish interest, but it should be having the interest of Nigerians at heart. And on insecurity, declare all known leaders of terrorists wanted now, Senate tells the federal government. And on fuel scarcity, NNPC releases distribution details of 387.5 million liters of petrol. And on the Constitution Amendment, Reps panel make U-turn, proposes immunity for Senate President and the Speaker. 2 killed, many injured as PDP hold World Congress in Osun. And on the bad fuel, our imported product met Nigerian specification, and this is coming from Duke Oil and Owando. Detail of that can be found on page 7. And from INEC, the era of election rigging is over. Detail of that can be found on page 10. And the picture story here, we can see the speaker, Femi Bajabiamila, the chief whip, Mr. Mohammed, and also the first lady, Mrs. Aisha, during the first lady's visit to seek more seats for women legislatures at the National Assembly in Abuja yesterday. And we hope that all will come out well at the end of the day. And that's all from the Vanguard newspaper.
Thank you, Sele. And this is to inform you that we're live on Facebook. Do well to drop your comments. And also our phone lines are open. Call us to air your views and stories that interest you. Moving to the Daily Trust newspaper, Gusau impeached Senator Nasiha, sworn in as Zamfara deputy governor. We lost 54 billion naira to flight cancellations, bed strikes. This is coming from the airlines. And 80% of military personnel performing police duties in 36 states, coming from the Chief of Defense Staff. The big story on Daily Trust says Buhari endorses Abdullahi Adamu as APC Chairman. Convention to ratify nomination. Aspirants kicks. There were indications yesterday that the bid by All Progressive Congress (APC) to pick its national chairman by consensus has yielded results as President Muhammadu Buhari and governors elected on the party's platform may have settled for former Nasarawa State Governor Senator Abdullahi Adamu. They gathered that the choice of Adamu as the next party national chairman has the endorsement of President Buhari made his position known to the APC governors at their meeting on Tuesday. A source private to the resolution made at the Tuesday meeting told this paper that the president is disposed to Adamu because he wants a national chairman with better experience in the affairs of political parties who cannot be intimidated by opposition of any kind. The source hinted that while it was expected that President Buhari would have been more comfortable with a national chairman from his legacy party, Congress for Progressive Change, and the APC governors were shocked that against gunning for somebody from his political dynasty, the president wanted a party chairman who is rugged and could withstand the pressure from the opposition ahead of the 2023 general election. And we're seeing that this is coming as a result of where they declared the chairmanship position going to the north and the presidency going to the south, and now they've endorsed Abdullahi Adamu as the new APC chairman. Here, Aisha Buhari at National Assembly 6 special seats for women. Agric intervention, federal government to buy 2 billion naira cattle for Taraba, still on the Daily Trust newspaper. I was led by spirit, pastors held for rape, says. Court orders forfeiture of 10 properties, funds link to Yari. Details can be found in page 5, and also the picture story we can see the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, and also some delegates of women at the National Assembly for the plenary. And that's all on Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay, moving on now to the leadership newspaper. APC chairmanship, President Muhammadu Buhari, governor zero in on Abdullahi Adamu. And we have leadership makes Northern Professional Calendar events. You want to know more, you can check page 7. As APC PDP considers Southern ticket, hope of Igbo presidency dims over killings in the southeast. Regional leaders blame for worsening situation. It's not enough to deny us presidency. This is coming from Ohanize. Attack unacceptable, the Northern Group forms. And then we have tax ahead of the 2023 election challenging. This is coming from INEC. Adulterated fuel, our product confirms with Nigerian specification. This is coming from Duke Oil and Owando. Fani Kaiode medical report is fake, hospital tells the court. Well, we can check more of that story on page 6 of the Leadership newspaper. And also we have Aisha Buhari make case for the women at the National Assembly, which is really, really a good thing. People were excited because, since Nigeria came back from, democracy, we've never had the spouse of any sitting president, taking a visit to the Senate or even the House of Rep. But we are happy she actually made that step so that women can also have their voice being heard out there when it comes to making decisions, because women are also equal team players when it comes to how to make Nigeria move forward. So we hope that this will, make a way out, that we'll also sit down together as team partners to see how can we provide solutions to certain things happening in Nigeria. And that is all from the Leadership newspaper.
Thank you, Celia. We have an international paper, which is the Business Standard newspaper. PM asks Beeman to adopt new technology and improve services. Why Bangladesh agriculture loses out to productivity. Housing gets remittance boosts. And expand outreach, don't squeeze existing taxpayers. Think tanks. Thank you. Good morning. We have a caller from Bielsa. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Thank you. Do well to call us back. I think we have network challenges in the studio. Expand outreach, don't squeeze existing taxpayers. Think tanks. Downside Russian defiant amid specter of toughest sanctions ever. And those are the stories making rounds on the Business Standard newspaper.
Okay, let's move yet to another business paper, which is the National Economy. Federal government sues JP Morgan Chase over $1.7 billion oil deal. Nigeria has dragged U.S. bank JP Morgan Chase to court, claiming more than $1.7 billion for its role in a civil suit filed in the English court in 2017 relate to the purchase by energy major Shell and end of dispute 2011 40 deal. The offshore OPL 245 oil field in Nigeria, which is also...
Our caller is back from Bielsa. Good morning. Hello and good morning.
Yeah, good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
So you can continue.
Okay. And that's more news from the National Economy paper. We have airlines lament 60 billion naira loss to flight delays and cancellation as AON denies compelling members to increase airfare. Local airlines exploiting Nigerians, and this is an expert saying that. And we have other story. Nigeria become beneficiary of the African Development Bank $164 million energy deal. We actually hope this money will actually be used for the right thing. Vehicle importers incur 180 million naira storage charges at the Lagos port. Detail of that story can be found on page 5. And there are other quite interesting stories. Do well to get the National Economy. You can read detail on that.
Thank you, Sally. And the last paper we'll be reviewing this morning is the Business Day newspaper. Boa Foods Notori UPDC on track to sell controlling shares. And here are banks that offer loans without collateral. Nigerians suspend planned Eurobond sale over market condition. And the last story on the Business Day says Dirty Petrol Saga, what we know now. Details can be found in page 2 of the Business Day newspaper. And that's how far we can go on the program this morning from the Dailies. Sele, any words for our viewers?
Yes, of course. Every day we have is a new day. So set out and do something extraordinary because you are more than what you think you are. Have a blessed day.
Yes, thank you. Thanks to all our callers who called in, and also we are live on all our social media platform. Do well to follow us on our social media platform. And thanks to the Equa Executive for giving us this platform to air the word of God. And also thank you for watching us and have a blessed day.